I want to talk a little bit about Jamie Lynn. We're still going to talk about Justin because I want you guys to understand how bad of a sister Jamie Lynn Spears is, because she is like a sympathizer to all of Britney's abusers, her father, her ex-boyfriend, and it seems like no matter what, Jamie Lynn is trying to operate against Britney. I mean, Jamie Lynn was a little kid when Britney was dating Justin. She grew up around Justin and she became fond of him, which is okay. But we've learned a lot about their relationship from Britney, and if I was Britney's sibling, I wouldn't be supporting this man. So why does Jamie Lynn so ferociously support him over and over again? Even a decade later, she's doing interviews talking about how happy she was with him and really just like dismissing her sister's entire experience. Here's an interview she did to promote all of her projects, and she talks a little bit about Justin, and I just feel like betrayed for Britney.
You talk about how much you loved Justin and swimming in the pool and having cookouts and stuff like that. But specifically about how he showed you, he was an example to you of like security, of a man who was generous and loving and kind. And I'm just curious if that is something that, do you know that he knew that, that he was that in your life?
You know, I grew up as a baby as like kind of being like the little sidekick to the whole, like, you know, the Mouseketeers, whether it was that or my brother's football team or whatever it was. And so I loved all of them because they all treated me so well. And then, you know, Justin was a big part of my childhood, and I always, he was just, I always felt included, and that was really nice. That was just, you know, that was a fun time in my life.
I think we can all agree that Jamie Lynn's probably not going to win the award for Sister of the Year. We all know that Britney and Jamie Lynn do not have a tight-knit relationship, and a lot of that stems from the lack of support that Britney received from Jamie Lynn during her conservatorship. Jamie Lynn sat on the sidelines and texted Britney and told her not to fight this, that she's not going to win, while her life and finances were controlled by their father. Britney has long claimed that Jamie Lynn, as well as her entire family, did nothing to help her while she struggled. And now that everyone's talking about Justin in this book, they're also talking about Jamie Lynn, and she went off to go and delete a tweet that praised Justin when he released a song about how Britney should cry him a river after he forced her to abort their baby. Now, I don't know what Jamie Lynn knew, but in 2013, she posted a photo of herself as a child sitting on Justin's lap in the back of a car with Britney by his side. She wrote, "Weird hearing your music as an adult. Ha, not only do I appreciate it, I get it. Hashtag cry me a river." Wow. I get it. I mean, how disrespectful can you be? Like, trying to say, oh yeah, oh my gosh. Like, just, I mean, and also in 2013, Britney was really, you know, in the mix of her conservatorship. It just seems so nasty of her to go and try to, like, you know, give him praise now so much time later. It makes me think that maybe something happened to them in this moment that led for her to like go and tweet this and just, you know, lend her support. As we learned in Britney's book, she went through a lot as a child in a very dysfunctional family with a dysfunctional grandfather that, you know, ultimately became a dysfunctional father, and it was all just really and nasty. And it makes me think that, you know, Jamie Lynn and Britney look at their lives very differently, because it seems like Jamie Lynn has kind of adopted this toxicity, and she's really like okay with abusive people continuing to abuse other people. Like, she was completely fine with this conservatorship. She's completely fine with what Justin put Britney through, and it makes me think that her brain is just like wired differently. Clearly it is, because there's so many people who do not like her, don't like her personality. She's so off-putting, and I think it's because no one can relate to how she thinks.
The dynamic between Jamie Lynn and Britney has always just been like an interesting, weird one to observe, but it occurred to me it's a direct result of misogyny, and here's why. Jamie Lynn has internalized misogyny to the point and bought into the idea that, like, we're in direct competition with each other. And there's obviously the sibling dynamic that they have going on. But Britney, who has been abused by men, by the music industry, by the press, by society in general, her own father, had to deal with this dynamic. A sister who'd completely bought in to the idea of misogyny, and that we can't celebrate each other's achievements and we're in direct competition with each other.
Now, when it came to that tweet in particular, everyone, even back in 2013, knew that it was wrong because she is kind of crossing her sister, supporting this guy who is so publicly her ex. Jamie Lynn did write that I hope you all know that my tweets are only to support my sister. Okay. I mean, what about your deleted tweet? And she said, at Britney Spears, anything left over was to Justin Timberlake. Okay. One person questioned Jamie Lynn on social media, writing, who would tweet this about essentially a diss track about your sister? Another person wrote, what a nasty thing to tweet. This is so evil. Jamie Lynn is talented at betrayal. I mean, it is not a good look to go and tweet this in support of Justin, but also to speak about your sister's relationship with him time and time again. It seems like Jamie Lynn thinks that she's some expert because she's Britney's sister, but it makes me think back to the time where I spoke to Britney's former manager, Sam Lufty, and he explained to me that these two aren't really like siblings like what you and I would think when we think of our siblings, because they didn't grow up in the same home together. Britney was on tour as a child. She was working when Jamie Lynn was born. They've got like almost a decade of time between their age. They really weren't ever in the same home, hanging out, growing up together. So Jamie Lynn doesn't know Britney. So why is she over here doing a press tour talking about Britney's relationship and how she feels about it? And it's so weird because it's like almost, it makes me think of like one of my cousins who just doesn't, like, I don't know my cousins. Like, I know some people are friends with their cousins. I don't know my cousins. So if like they were to go and speak on my behalf about my relationship, that would just freak me out.
I want to be careful to ask this as most respectfully as possible. But have you ever thought about how life might have been different had they stayed together? Have you ever thought about what
the whole world thinks about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's just kind of like a pop culture fantasy, but at the end of the day, what's meant to be is meant to be. So
I know that. I know that's right. I know that's right.
Britney has explained in her book that Jamie Lynn tried to rush out her book, Things I Should Have Said, because she wanted to cash in on the Free Britney movement. And she probably wanted to release it before Britney released her book or was even going to come up with a book. Because imagine if Britney and Jamie Lynn's book came out at the same time, no one would buy Jamie Lynn's. I mean, people only bought Jamie Lynn's to see like what she really had to say. Personally, I did not buy it. I was sent it because I went on my email and I emailed the publishing company and I said, I've got a YouTube channel. It would be really great if I reviewed the book before it came out. So I got it before it came out and then I burnt it. Then I burnt it to a crisp. I mean, it was already digitally leaked. They probably had a really bad publishing team handling that book. But I was surprised that Britney's wasn't leaked, to be honest, because books are leaked so often. But in Jamie Lynn's book, she felt the need to go and write about Justin and talk about how she was so sad over their breakup. I mean, imagine Britney had to go through this. Then she was broken up over text message. I mean, all he wrote was like, it's over. So, I mean, Jamie Lynn is so sad over this breakup, really just trying to direct any attention that she can to herself. Jamie Lynn claims that she truly doesn't know the reason why the couple called it quits, but she does sympathize with her sister. So, yeah, I don't know if she did know about the procedure. I mean, it really wasn't a procedure because they did it at home, but I don't know if she knows that much about it. And honestly, if I was Britney, I wouldn't be telling Jamie Lynn nothing.
Jamie Lynn recounted how the struggles Britney faced at the peak of her fame affected her, including her sister's high-profile relationship and breakup with Justin Timberlake.
You write in the book, one of the first healthy male father figures in your life was Justin Timberlake.
I remember him fondly because that was probably one of the best times in my whole family's life. Things were good and we were experiencing the good side of things.
Jamie Lynn was about 10 when her sister and JT called it quits.
How did Britney and Justin's breakup affect you?
I was so sad. I was so sad. I was so sad. I don't really know why I was so sad, but I was because I think everybody thought it was forever.
Everyone thought it was forever. I mean, how naive can you be? But you guys know that this is my podcast, and in my podcast, I just do what I want. So I'm going to talk about something that I want to talk about, which is kind of random and unrelated. But I want to make a video about this. We couldn't really find any information, so maybe you guys can help me find information. Also, I know if you've been watching this over video, you probably are what is going on with his finger? So I love the spinach and artichoke dip at Trader Joe's, and I love to cook it in the microwave for 3 minutes and then mix stuff into it and then cook it again because I can't just eat cheese. I need some protein in there. And recently I was you know what? I'm going to put some crab meat in there. So I got really nice crab meat from the grocery store, opened up the can and I sliced my finger. And then last night I thought, okay, I'll wrap it up. It'll be okay. Well, I woke up in the middle of this in my slumber, and I was in pain because my finger hurt, and my like little makeshift cast like came off, and I was like dripping blood everywhere. I had to like clean my bedding. It was just like, I'm actually filming in my bedroom right now, and I just decided like, let's switch it up. I don't know, like, the podcast is kind of like changing. I've got some guests coming on in next week and the week after, but for now I'm just like just putting out this episode and wanted to talk about things that I like wouldn't talk about on my main channel. So yeah, we're in my bedroom, and I've been trying to change the lights if you guys are watching, like, for the topic, but I'm so bad at all of that. I'm really excited to when I move and I build out my real condo. I feel like I'm gonna need some ideas on how we want it to look, because I want to have like the podcast studio and the main studio in the same room. And yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. But I need to talk about something that was interesting to me that I came across on social media, and one of you guys emailed me about. Somebody sent me this email. Hey, I'm such a fan, by the way. Thank you. I literally just found out that Ariana Grande and Kim Kardashian owned a nonprofit company called Animal Genetics Incorporated. The business filing said that it's a genetic DNA and health facility wanting to find a cure for COVID-19. The company dissolved in 2022, and I haven't seen Kim or Ariana express any friendship with each other, so I'm not sure what this is about. I mean, who really knew that Kim and Ariana were friends, let alone close enough to own a genetic health testing facility? Neither of them have any experience or qualifications to be in that business ever. Okay, so when I saw this, I said, hold up, because I didn't realize the Kardashians and the Ariana Grande camp were close enough to be doing these kind of business deals together. I mean, we have seen that Kris Jenner was featured in Ariana Grande's music video at some point, but a genetic health like facility, a testing facility, that just sounds way far-fetched. I mean, it almost doesn't even sound real, but it is, and their company went away in 2022 after forming in 2020. On the screen, you can see there's some paperwork where you can see that both Ariana and Kim's names and business addresses are listed on this documentation. So were Kim and Ariana planning on like trying to cure COVID together? I doubt it, but they have their names listed all over these LLC documents, and the company itself is just called Animal Genetics Incorporated. The reason why we know that their mission was to find a COVID-19 cure was because they put out a mission statement with the state of Missouri. This is getting so weird. Also, it's like, I didn't think animals, I mean, I guess we're animals, right? But I didn't think animals got COVID. So are they trying to like find a cure for animals, or are they trying to find a cure for us and they're just calling us animals? Someone wrote, why did Kim and Ariana privately attempt to find a cure for COVID-19 and called the company Animal Genetics Incorporated? Does this have anything to do with the history of the Kardashians' missing pets? If you guys haven't seen my video about the Kardashian pets and how they're mistreated, how they've been missing, there is so much to unpack there. So I feel like anything with animals, Kim should stay away, because she doesn't like pets, she doesn't want them, and she doesn't treat them well. I mean, they just mysteriously disappear from their lives. It makes me question if these pets are part of their genetic facility. I mean, I'm sure they're not, because their pets have gone missing years after years, but it's weird that like, Kim has tried to get into law. She's getting into like, clothes and even kind of sports now. I heard that she was now the main like underwear provider for like the NBA or something. So she's got a lot of business ventures, but like science and COVID-19 and like, partnering with Ariana Grande just doesn't even seem real. Their corporation was set up as a nonprofit, and they wrote that it was intended to do genetic DNA and health testing to find a cure for COVID-19 in a safe and scientific environment for a solution to save the world. What's interesting is that when Ariana Grande filed her name with the paperwork, she actually listed an address that Kanye and Kim purchased a home at back in 2014 for $20 million. Kim didn't use that address herself. She actually used an address to a like business office in San Jose. So I don't know why Ariana Grande is using a different address. Also, I don't know if her middle name is Joan. This article questions whether it is. I'm assuming it probably is, but that's also the name of her mother. Looking at Google, it doesn't look like she has a middle name. So it's really bizarre that she would like list her middle name as Joan if she just doesn't even have one. So there's obviously more questions than answers. There's another guy who's listed on the business documents, only one other person named Jamie Gray, who's also an incorporator for Fur Lives Matter, another Missouri-based nonprofit. So maybe he had this idea that like Ariana and Kim could come together with him and create the cure for COVID and just get rich off of that. But it didn't last longer than 2 years, and there was no other record of this company. So there wasn't a website made, there wasn't any other statements. It really was just established in Missouri as a nonprofit, and that's what they did, which makes me question if the IRS had a good look at this, because I wonder if they used it to get exempt on something or what their real goal was. Because, you know, Kim's pretty open with all of her business ventures. If she was trying to cure COVID-19, I'm pretty sure she would let the whole world know about it.